Let's talk about why I bought a gas mask, as well, you can see one dream catcher there and one huge dream catcher here. So I bought technically two masks and two dream catchers, and it's going to make sense in a couple of minutes. I will do my best to explain like what the reasons. Around last July, June-July of 2025, I started writing what I would imagine to be one or two songs because I was feeling feelings. I was having some bad days because of what was going on in the world, and it was a very, very, turbulent and difficult time for me. Yeah, for 99.5% of my life. Usually I would rather tell how I feel and share how I feel in the song and dance and in the music format. And so I started writing, and I realized by this February, like February 2026, I had written roughly 2 hours worth of material, and it became a problem because I was going to release one song, but then I had like almost 2 hours of music. I swear I'll get to this in a second, but it will make sense. So what I did was what any person with sensible and crazy, inspiration, art vibes would do. And I tried to start cutting things to make it into a coherent album. Despite the fact that I released an album last October, album number 4, I was at the same time working on the next project, and the next project would have been, extremely thematically, musically, and vibe-wise different from the previous project. And because of the themes, because of the stories I'm trying to tell in that album, I realized that for the artwork of the album, for the picture thing, I needed a bit more of a human touch. Let me give you a bit more context for what I'm talking about. For the past it's going to be almost 20 years now. Anytime I was thinking about artwork, anytime I was thinking about the visual representation of my music, I would draw stuff myself, or I would have a couple of my friends who were graphic designers help me out with some things. A couple of times I commissioned some other people to help me out with their designs. One of them, for example, is Near the Stars artwork, which was, in my opinion, something very unique and one of a kind. Shout out to the artist. A couple of times I actually used generative AI to make the artwork, and I'm very happy that I did, because now that I've used it, I realize it's just it's okay. It kind of looks like everything else, but with my version of everything else, if it makes any sense. And so I missed the human touch. I missed the human element when it comes to artwork design, booklet design, because I think this album might have a very thick and hefty booklet as well. I think the lyrics are around, so far, are going to be around 30 to 35 pages. It's going to be very long. It's a very large, it's a big work. It's a big project, and it kind of scares me to even think about those details. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And so I had this idea for some of the artworks that involved human beings, gas masks, and dream catchers. And I bought a specific dream catcher, which was, let me show you, this one. This one is very colorful and pretty and nice and everything, which should look good in pictures. And this one is humongous. I think it's almost as tall as I am, and it's completely white, which allows us to repaint it in any vision that I want. I still haven't decided what I want to do with this, but I talked to a couple of my friends who I asked if you're going to be volunteers, because I want to photograph them in gas masks in a specific area outside of the town with nothing around, because I have these crazy ideas that I would like to collage, add stuff, take stuff. And so that's the story of the gas mask and the story of the dream catchers and everything. Today I'm going to give the stuff to the correct people, and probably we'll start taking photos and talking about details within the next couple of weeks, because I don't know if it makes any sense to you. When I start working on an album or any kind of music project, I tried not to do everything at the same time. I tried to be a bit more nuanced, but I reach a certain point where I have to have the logo, the design, the typography, the artwork and everything, as well as the music, the guitar patches, the guitar strings. I bought like the specific guitar strings for specific tunings for the guitar. Even though I don't need to use this for probably one more month at least, it's good to have everything under your control. It could be due to a number of different reasons. My brain functions differently than a lot of, I guess, normal people, because I was never supposed to be normal. So the portion of that, like that video that you just saw, I filmed it way ahead of time. I think it was late February or early March. And since then, I'm filming this in August. Since then, the people that were supposed to come help and share their ideas with me, they kind of did not answer, and we were not able to reach any kind of like a result. That means that for now, I'm not going to use the humans and the gas masks and the dream catchers, because the idea was that there's this nice field outside of the city, outside of the town here, that is completely empty. There's nothing there. I would have had one of the people that I talked to, put on the gas mask and hold the dream catcher around sunset time, and we would set the dream catcher on fire, and we would take a bunch of long exposure photos and then edit them to see what happens. It was supposed to be super. I think it would have been super cool, but it didn't happen, and it's okay. There are so many things that change throughout a project. So what I did instead is, when I was a teenager, I had these weird moments where my brain would just not stop working, and it would stop me from sleeping. So one thing I would do is I would pull all-nighters. I would just stay awake for long periods of time. And I would either write things, listen to podcasts, read things, draw things. Sometimes I would have podcasts open, like on my headphones, and then I would play video games at the same time, all through the night. Another thing that I would do a lot, this is before the I don't want to say I'm old, but this is before the streaming services were a thing. I had this little tape player that was battery operated, and it also had access to radio, FM radio and AM radio. And so very frequently, I think it was Thursday nights, if I'm not wrong, there was this theater program, like a play, that was not a one night thing. It was like a full-blown story. And for months, I would listen to the performances, and I would try to imagine what was the vibe. All of this, I'm telling you all this, is that these past few days, nights technically, the same energy has come back to me, and I've started doodling, I've started designing things, which brings me to the logo of the album. What you are seeing right now is I think third or fourth attempt at creating what I believe to be a good logo for the album. The album is called Fill the World with Teeth, and I wanted to have sections and portions of the words chewed off, bitten out, gnawed on with teeth and everything. And so what I did is I would find a font that is free to use for my purposes, and I would mutilate and destroy it to a point that I could create my own font from it. I think this one is called Alchemy, if I'm not wrong. And so what happened was I came up with this word by word segment so I could move everything around. And for the logo of the album, I knew that I wanted the symmetry that Dreamcatchers provide in a distorted and destroyed way, if it makes any sense. Closer to the end of the second semester, so maybe April. I don't remember exactly. I was in class. We were doing stuff. I was talking. The students were talking. It was a whole vibe. I noticed one of my students was doodling something on her tablet. I think it was an iPad, and it was really, to me, it was the design was really interesting. So I approached her, and I asked what it is that she was doing. In the beginning, students would feel they're going to scramble to hide what they're doing. But I told her, don't worry. Keep doodling, do whatever you want to do. Just tell me what it is that you're doing, because I really like this. And then she explained that this is what she does. She designs corners, or not corners, the quarters, and then the tablet would replicate it, something like that. And I told her, can I have a copy of this to use as an artwork? And she thought I was kidding, but she said she realized, oh, I was not. And so she sent the files to me. She gave me like the consent to use them. And for the past, I don't know, several hours, in the past couple of days, I've been trying to come up with this idea of creating that little dream catcher in flames scenario with that. So what I did, again, as you are seeing right now on this other time lapse, I put down like a granite wall as a background. I want to have this granite wall that is kind of, you know, annoying and grainy, and then I want to put this on top of, like, put the flower thing on top of it, or the dream catcher looking thing, and then I will like set it to flames. I will add logos. Of course, it's not a final product, but at least now it gives the job, like it gives the album, the project, a tiny bit more identity, and I always need to operate with that. The moral of the story here is that while I don't want to do everything at the same time, sometimes I do a bit of this, I do a bit of that, and it slowly progresses the album. Can I commission the artwork to be like done by a professional? Of course I can, I might, but for now this can do. I will keep this under wraps. I will probably share it with the band and with some friends for their immediate feedback, and then I'll probably improve it from there on. So that is the story of how my plans didn't work in the beginning, because, well, I got 2 gas masks, 2 dream catchers, couldn't like do the things I wanted to do. Maybe we'll try it later. Maybe I'll find a couple other people that would help me out here. But in general, overall, I feel like the project is going forward. Around 20 minutes of the album, I'd say right now, around 20 minutes of the album is ready. I am not scared of removing songs from the album if my deadlines aren't met. And overall, I just feel like even slowly, very, very slowly, moving is still moving. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you had fun, and see you in the next one. Peace.